Hey guys, I want to share an experience with you that I had over the weekend, and I want you to listen carefully and tell me if this feels familiar to you. So, over the last couple of years, I've been really getting into flying FPV drones, the kind of drones that fly really fast, you control them in full manual, and they're really exciting. It's a really good adrenaline replacement for motorbikes, which I used to ride, but a few of my friends have had really bad accidents. Anyway, one of the guys recently had his 40th birthday, and he invited me along. Now, I'm in a phase of my life where I'm really actively looking for some new friends, especially some new male friends. And so I decided I'm definitely going to go along. But as the date for his 40th started to come up, I started to feel something very strongly, and that's dread. Because I knew that I was going to be at a party where I only knew one person, and there was going to be a room full of people I didn't know, and I was going to have to talk with a whole bunch of strangers. And I was going to have to spend a whole evening mostly talking with people I've never met before. And I dreaded it, and I didn't want to go. I really do want to build friendships, so I knew I needed to go. And I really had to force myself to get dressed and get ready and go out to this 40th birthday party, something that most people should find fun. And sure enough, when I was there, it was okay. I talked to the birthday guy. I learned a little bit about him that I didn't know. Like, we learned about his life and his world. I met his wife. He learned about my life a lot more than he knew before, and we connected a bit. But most of the time I was talking to other people I'd never met before. I met a guy who's crazy about virtual reality and sim racing games, which I love, and that's cool. And I met some nice people. I know how to talk to strangers. This is what I do for a living, right? And so I did a fine job. No one would have looked at me and thought, this guy's feeling awkward, this guy's being weird, this guy's not. But the whole time that I'm out there, I'm stressed. I want to go. I want to be alone. I want to relax on the couch and just do my own thing. That's the whole time. That's exactly what I'm feeling. And I breathed such a huge sigh of relief when I got back into my car and started driving home. Can you guys relate to that feeling? And if you can, congratulations, you're an introvert, and you probably already knew that. And it might be tempting to think that with this affliction, it would be really, really hard for me to learn to meet and approach women in bars and clubs, that it would actually be torturous and really quite difficult for me. But as you probably guessed from the title, this is not how I feel. In fact, I love being an introvert when it comes to meeting women. I feel like I get to have certain skills and I get to utilize certain abilities that I have because of my introversion that my extroverted buddies don't have. And today I want to share some of these with you because I know so many of you guys watching are introverts as well. And I want to let you know that, hey, maybe there is some silver lining to be had here. So let me get the bad stuff out of the way first. Approach anxiety. Introverts do not have a history of spending a lot of time talking to people they don't know. They don't spend a lot of time making new social connections. That's just not the way that we grow up. And so it is hard to make us approach strangers. It was not fun for me to be in a bar meeting a bunch of guys, even though they're nice guys and some of them could be friends. Just like it's not going to feel easy to go to a bar and approach cute girls. It's not. You're never going to want to do it. Most of my clients, surprise, surprise, have really bad approach anxiety when they start this journey. And that, as introverts, is going to be one of the biggest hurdles for you to overcome. But when you do overcome that approach anxiety and you really start getting in there and you start, you will also need to learn to make some basic small talk and humor and stuff to get past those precious first few minutes. But once you do that and you actually get in conversations, there are some things that you can do a lot better than your extroverted counterparts. So the first thing I do, and this is something that all introverted guys really should be thinking about, is I focus on the introverted women in the bars. Now, I don't mean women who are like scared and shivering in a corner or anything like that. I just mean you can watch women in a bar, right? I could go and talk to the woo girls, the girls part and go, oh my God, look at me, woo. I could do that, but I'm not going to enjoy talking to them. I'm not going to like them. I've said this before in other videos. You're not going to like them either. They may be attractive as well. They spend a lot of time working themselves, but you're not going to click with them. You just, it's not fun. And there are lots of really cute girls in a bar who are more sedate, who are more chilled, right? They're there with their more extroverted friends. They're not so crazy usually, behaviorally. And they're the ones that I target. I target those girls because those women, they're the ones that I'm going to get along with. And they do actively, most of them don't like the confident, cocky, extroverted guys. They don't like them most of the time, right? Most of the time, they really would like to meet a guy who's more like them. But of course, where are those guys? They're busy suffering with approach anxiety. So when you do go in and you do talk to them, not only is it appreciated that you went in there because they don't get flirted with often by the guys they want to talk to, you're not competing with the other guys that are normally so competitive and already hypersocial because the girls don't like them. The girls recognize those guys aren't their type of guys. Now, the second thing that I do really well because I'm an introvert is that I'm very good at listening. Extroverts, they tend to wait to talk. They tend to wait to say something impressive, right? Whereas introverts tend to be much better at listening and paying attention to what's really being said. Now, this is useful. This is great because, it's hard because in the beginning, you're not as good at talking, yammering along like an extrovert might. But once you overcome those first few minutes, you're really good at observing what they're actually thinking and feeling in your interactions. And I use this to build connection. I use this to stand out from the other guys. So how do I do that? Well, when I'm talking to a woman, let's say she is traveling and she's from another country, she hasn't been in this country very long, she could display a range of different emotions when she's telling me this. She could be exhibiting excitement, she could be exhibiting stress or anxiety or sadness that she misses home. And as an introvert, I'm much better at picking up what she's feeling. Now, by doing that, by listening to her, I will then say, it can be hard, right? It sounds like you feel a little stressed when you're saying that too, because it's hard being in a new country. You miss family. Christmas is coming up. That's a tough time. You got to work a lot of hours. You got to do shit jobs because it's hard to get a good job as a foreigner here. Whatever. I'm thinking about what she's saying, what I'm feeling that she's feeling, and if I do this repeatedly in conversations, that is, demonstrate that I'm really listening to what she's thinking and feeling as she says it. She will feel like I'm actually paying attention. I'm not talking at her, I'm talking to her. And especially in a bar environment, guys, that makes you stand out. That makes you interesting and unique. Again, to the introverted women more than the extroverted women. I've never been the kind of guy who goes to a bar and parties with girls. I don't drink. I'm not that guy. I'm the guy who goes into bars and clubs and has really interesting, cool conversations with interesting, cool women because that's who I'm focused on. And when they feel like I'm talking to them, I stand out. I'm different to all the other guys who are trying to hit on her. And that's a strength that I'm bringing to the table, not a weakness. Number 3, as an introvert, I know, in fact, I hate group conversations, period. I hate them. They're stressful. I have to do them a lot. Like I run these big events where I'm talking in front of hundreds of people in a room, and that's fine. And then afterwards, big groups come over and talk to me. That's not a problem. I encourage that. But I don't enjoy that the way that I enjoy one-on-one conversations. And I thrive in one-on-one personal situations. I don't like having to think about all this stuff going on around. That's just not me. And so what I do is I use that to my advantage. I very quickly, when I'm in interaction, I focus on socially isolating the girl I like, right? And that can almost sound negative when I say it that way. But what I really mean is I have a conversation just with her in the exclusion of all her other friends, right? I might sort of turn a little bit away so she's faced away from the group to talk to me. And that's fine. And what's interesting is that if I'm talking again to the more introverted women, they appreciate this because the introverted women, they don't want to compete with their friends socially to try to talk to me. If you guys have ever had the experience where you approach a group, there's a girl you like, but her much louder, more extroverted, more chatty, sometimes more drunk friend just gets in the way and you can't really talk to the girl you like and she kind of recedes into the background. She'll appreciate that she's not stuck in that situation, right? You're taking her away from having to have a group chat. You're giving her the opportunity to have a very real, personal one-on-one conversation with someone, with another person who doesn't want to have too much small talk crap going on. And so you're giving her that opportunity, and that allows you to create oodles of rapport and connection, and that will reduce your flake rate. You see, something I see extroverts doing, okay, most of my clients are introverts, but still I get a good smattering of extroverts. What extroverts tend to do is they have a strategy, which is not a bad strategy. That is, they entertain the whole group, and they're very engaging, they're very entertaining, and they're very impressive, and they build lots of social value. And that makes the girl that he likes, see him higher up in the social hierarchy as well. And this is a nice strategy, but what I see a lot of is I see a lot of flaking. So if he doesn't take her home and sleep with her that night, she just won't reply to messages very often. So he'll get a lot of flakes. He's got to get a lot of numbers. He has to get more numbers than an introvert does to get one that'll reply. And if he does, I'm going to talk about this in a second, but yes, again, if he does take a girl home to sleep with her, he's likely not going to hear from her again the next day. So you get this very, he may build more social value more easily in a group, but he will struggle to actually have that connection, and therefore the longevity of the interaction is dramatically reduced and the flake rate goes up. Number 4, and I know some guys might see this as a negative, but hear me out, okay? Far more women I do talk to and get to know want to be in a relationship with me than my extroverted counterparts. Now, you might say, why is that a good thing? Right now, I don't want a relationship. You might say, right now, I just want to be free and have fun and sleep with a bunch of girls. Okay. It would be, in some ways, ideal if you were an extrovert doing that, because I would say that extroverts would have an easier time having one-night stands than introverts do. But here's the interesting thing. Introverts, not just myself, but other introverts, I find when they do have sexual relationships, those relationships go on. In other words, they have far more frequent occasions where women want to see them over and over and over again. As an introvert, you need to, because you're going to create these really amazing connections, you need to work harder than an extrovert to be clear that you don't want anything serious. Extroverts, you often don't have to because they're not taken so seriously because they don't build the rapport. But when you build the rapport, you build firmer connections. I kind of mentioned this before, and those firmer connections mean women will want to keep seeing you. If you find a sexual partner, they're going to want to keep seeing you, even if it's just casual. And you're going to get that. And that, to me, as an introvert, that is preferable. I would rather have regular meetings with one girl who I really click with, even if I'm not looking for a relationship. I'd rather see her a few times and get to know her than just have a random wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, quick chop, 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 chop thing going on. And that suits me better. And it probably suits a lot of you guys better. I've seen a lot of times with clients where they think they want to have a bunch of one-night stands, but they have them and it doesn't scratch the itch properly. But when they have these really amazing chats with a girl and then that interaction becomes sexual and they catch up a few times in a row, that actually feeds their soul. It gives them the form of non-committed sex that they really want. And I think this really leads me into where this whole video is coming to, which is a lot of introverted guys, and this was myself in the beginning too, they feel like they have to start adopting extroverted personality behavior like references, so they start to be more gregarious and out there, and they start to put on kind of the pickup mask a lot more, and they try to be more suave and more interesting for the group. And I mean, certainly you have to, as an introvert, if you're not good at it, you need to know how to engage and entertain someone. But you can entertain someone as an introvert, or you can entertain someone as an extrovert. You can focus on just having one-on-one conversations and being engaging, or entertaining the whole group, right? Focus on engaging with one-on-ones, right? Or small groups, or small, like just her and her friend, if there's only two, go at a bar. Don't focus on trying to engage with the group. Don't be gregarious if that's not who you are. You need to develop a sense of humor. You need to create a little bit of intensity and connection early on. You can't just be boring. But there's a difference between being the dancing monkey, which is a mean thing to say, and I don't really like that term, but extroverts are better at being a dancing monkey that gets attention. Introverts are much better at creating intensity, like intensity of connection, like I'm here, you're really cute, what's your name? That's really cool. What do you guys do? Yeah, it's that kind of intensity that you have there rather than the entertainer. And if you really embrace the elements that make you an introvert, and you focus on women who themselves are introverts, so stop trying to pretend to be an extrovert, because you can end up looking fake and glib and superficial, and it's not going to work for you. But if you do that, if you really focus on those women and you connect with the introverted part of yourself, you will do a lot better. You won't get as many phone numbers or have as many one-night stands as your talented extrovert counterparts might, but you'll have much more nourishing connections. And the women you do connect with, you're going to connect with very well. And so you don't have to have less. An introvert can, you can easily go out and meet one or two really amazing women every night. That's all you need, right? You don't need more than that. If that becomes something sexual, if that becomes a relationship, depending on what you want, that's all you need. You don't need 5 girls for one night. It's not necessary. And so, yeah, I think that's really my message today. Embrace what makes you an introvert. Understand, yes, there'll be things that aren't ideal, that'll be a hindrance, but there are strengths that come with it. And I use them, and I absolutely abuse the strengths that I've got. I use them to the absolute max, and I've always had really great results from that. If you're interested, by the way, in talking to me more about how you can develop that introvert, that strong, intense, like attention-grabbing introverted part of yourself, I do Zoom coaching calls. I'll put a link for it down in the comments below. I've got a couple of spots right now available for some clients to work on that together as we approach the new year. So go ahead and contact me on that. If you've enjoyed this video, if you're an introvert and there's other skills, there's other things you've noticed make being an introvert really great, let me know in the comments below. Please, guys, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you've enjoyed it, because that helps me a ton. As always, guys, I hope you've enjoyed my video, and I look forward to seeing you in the future.